Shalom, my name is Albert Veksler. I'm the director of Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, and we are here in the Friends of Zion Museum with our special report, Answers to Allies. With me is a dear friend, Danielle Moore from the Jewish Agency, actually the Vice President of Jewish Agency and the head of the Christian Desk. And we are looking into how to stand with Israel in this tragic day and hour. We have seen, of course, horrible pictures from the 7th of October that changed our lives, the atrocities that we hoped never to see since the Holocaust. Never has there been so many Jewish people killed in one day as we saw on the feast of Simchat Torah. And we are just appalled by these atrocities, these barbarous attacks that we have seen. We have had people, of course, from all over the world stand with us, the Christian friends. We've seen the town hall squares and the government buildings lit up with the flags of Israel, and we're so thankful for these people that have brought 900 roses to the Israeli embassy in Sweden, in Stockholm. And there are many people that are standing with us. But today we have had a horrible warning about possible terror attacks. So Danielle, how do we cope with this, and how do our friends in all these countries that are watching us stand with Israel?
So thank you so much, Albert, for inviting me, and thank you very much for sending out this message to Christian supporters and friends of Israel all around the world. This is truly a time when we need this kind of friendship. We need people to tell the truth, and we need them to be able to stand by the Jewish communities in the cities and towns where they live, and to be able to say that what has happened in Israel is a crime against humanity. It's not freedom fighters. It's not for the Palestinian people. What has happened is an attack on Israel, on the Jewish people, and on the most basic values of humanity.
It's like ISIS. This is the brutal people beheading children. I mean, I cannot even imagine what is in their heads.
What's in their heads is nothing but hate. And I think that we all, as believers, we know that man is made in the image of God. And you know, in Judaism, it is sacred, the value of human life, and on keeping the sanctity of human life and of the human body. And the fact that these murderous, barbaric terrorists chose to not only murder and kill, but also to humiliate in the most horrific way, have absolutely no regard for human life, and to come on a Shabbat morning, on a holiday, on a day when people were supposed to wake up and then go and dance with the Torah scrolls in the streets, out of the synagogues, to make that into a day of bloodshed and of horror is a complete atrocity against humanity. They attacked Judaism, they attacked Israel, they attacked these women and these children. And what we also know is that among them were people from China, from Thailand, from the United States, people of all different citizenships. And we see this as an attack on the values of our world, of the Western world, not just even an attack on Israel. And that is also why people of the world should stand up against this.
So it's nothing to do with any freedom fighters or any noble cause. We are talking about the vilest and the most savage terrorists that don't have any respect to human life or anything human at all. I mean, I've seen pictures that just are just so horrible that I just cannot even know what to do with my emotions. I mean, I think many of our friends that are viewing us are actually asking, what do we do? What do we do about this?
So firstly, Albert, I'm really sorry when I hear that you've seen these images, because we know that what you saw and what many of us have seen are things that we just cannot erase from our mind. We cannot erase it from our hearts. And I would advise perhaps people that are watching us to try and tune down the amount of this horror that they are seeing, because I think that as people that love and support Israel, when you are told that bodies were mutilated, that women were raped and then beheaded, that babies were beheaded, that children were tied up together, and as they were tied and bound, they were shot at and murdered. I think that those descriptions alone are enough to make your blood curdle and to feel that there's no more light in the world, you don't need to actually see it. So I would advise that perhaps it's best for our viewers to not seek out those images, and to try and focus on what they can do to help, what they can do at this time.
But also, I mean, our hostages, we're not just talking about, was it now 1,500 dead, 150 hostages that they are talking about?
I think the number of hostages is just an estimate. There's a certain number that the IDF confirmed, and there is a much larger number that families are saying, we don't know where our loved ones are. They don't necessarily have footage or documentation that they were actually taken into Gaza, but they were not found yet, and so we have every reason to believe that they are taken hostage and that they are now in Gaza. And you are very right, Albert. It's excruciatingly painful to think about what kind of news and images we will be receiving in the days and in the weeks to come, because we know that Hamas will do everything they can to use these hostages for the most vile purposes, and they will have absolutely no regard for them as humans. And you know what's happening now, you know, we compare it to the Holocaust. There have been stories about what they did to those young adults that were there at that music festival, that they found an area in the ground that was lower, and that they threw the bodies into it and then leveled the ground with these kind of tractors. It's descriptions like what happened in Babi Yar, or places of mass Jewish killings. You can equate them to ISIS, you know, and we have the very known hashtag now, Hamas is ISIS. I would encourage the viewers also to seek out that on social media and to promote it and to say that yes, Hamas is ISIS and we need to stand up to them. Another way to equate them with is with the Einsatzgruppen, with the Nazi platoons that their sole purpose during World War II was to go out into the villages and the towns to find the Jews and to murder them, to bring them out from the city square, to march them into the woods and to murder them into the burial pits. Those places in Ukraine, those places in East Europe where we know that the ground is drenched in Jewish blood, this is exactly what Hamas has been doing on October 7th. And that is exactly what their goal was to do.
But Danielle, I'm thinking of the families that have lost their loved ones, the families and whose children, parents are in Gaza right now. I mean, this is a trauma that, I mean, it will, I don't know how to process even it. I think our viewers, well, I would really ask you to pray specifically for these people, to pray for these families, to pray for those who have lost their loved ones. I think I cannot find words to comfort. Maybe God can comfort them. Maybe He's the only one who can comfort them in this time of need.
I believe you are right. And you know, Albert, that today, Friday, this is going to be the day, and then the following Shabbat, it's going to be the weekend on which all over the Jewish world in synagogues, they are starting to read the Torah, the first book, the Genesis, chapter 1. It's called Shabbat Bereshit, Shabbat of Genesis, where the first chapter of Genesis will be read in synagogues all around the world. And when you think about the meaning, you know, those very words, let there be light, that God created the world with His word and brought in light to the world. And everything that unfolded after that, that is going to be what will be read in synagogues all around the world. And we at the Jewish Agency, we are sending out a special prayer to our Jewish partners and to our Christian friends, asking them to reflect on those words, on let there be light, and sending them out with a special prayer for the safety of Israel and for the return of the hostages. Anyone who would like to receive that prayer from us, I encourage them to go to the Jewish Agency's website and to download the prayer and to use it specifically this Shabbat and this Friday weekend.
And there are, of course, the scriptures that we know from Isaiah 49, whether the prey of the mighty will be delivered, will be liberated, and God says, he who contends with me, contends with you, contends with me. He is the one, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is the one fighting for those hostages, fighting for those families that are under such a horrible, horrible conditions, and God alone can bring them out. I think as we pray together, it will be something that will give strength to our soldiers. As of time of old, when David's men were able to bring back the hostages, of time of old when God blinded the enemy's eyes so that they didn't know where they were going as Elisha was taking them. I think it's time for us to see again those miracles as we pray together.
Definitely. And also you can reflect on Psalms chapter 121 with the verse that Ki lo yanum velo yishan shomer Israel, the guardian of Israel neither sleep nor slumbers. And you know, right now we have in Israel some 360,000 men and women that were called up from their lives, from their families, from their children, from their wives. I personally know friends that they have at home a 5-day-old baby, a 3-week-old baby. They were called into the reserves to be those guardians of Israel. The true guardian of Israel is, of course, God. And when we say that the guardian of Israel neither sleep nor slumbers, we are referencing directly and praying directly to God. And we are also asking him, and I would ask all our viewers, to pray for those 360,000 men and women in Israel. Because truly, when you are an Israeli citizen, even when you leave your service in the IDF, you never really sleep or slumber. You know that you might be called in to serve. And beyond those 360,000 that are already there in the south and in the north fighting, being vigilant and protecting, there are thousands of young Israelis that are in airports all around the world desperately trying to get on a flight to come home and to protect their country. Those people should be saluted, applauded, and brought home so that they can partake in the defense of this country.
My son is one of them, so he's deployed. And I mean, we have it so close. I mean, to our family, of course, everybody's thoughts and prayers are with him. And it's something that we all carry as a nation. But I think there is a resolve now with Israel. There is no more, nothing left of this paradigm that we can just live with these Hamas people fenced in somewhere in Gaza Strip. And of course, we have the Iron Dome, and they'll shoot, but then we will intercept those missiles. It seems like this day is over. I mean, I think there's a resolve now. There's going to be no more place left for Hamas. I mean, we cannot live with such a horrible entity just next doors.
Very true. And when often people say, Hamas, they should be treated as freedom fighters. They care about the Palestinians. But anyone who has been listening to what Hamas has been saying all these years, or reading even their manifesto, sometimes when people say something, you need to just actually understand that they mean it. And when they have been saying for these years that their aim is the destruction of Israel and that their aim is the murder of innocent Jews, that is exactly what they mean. And when you see the atrocities that they have done, and how is it actually that we've seen these atrocities? Most of what we have seen is not because there was some sort of surveillance camera or because people that were cowering in their bomb shelters and in their safe rooms managed to also take videos. No, most of what we have seen, it's because Hamas has shown it to us. And how has Hamas shown it to us? Not just by them being there to document with their cameras or with their cell phones. They actually made their victims give them their phone, open their Facebook account, go on a Facebook Live, and broadcast to all their friends and family and contacts and the world on Facebook, broadcast what was happening to them. I cannot even begin to imagine what a mother, what a child, what a sister, what a friend feels when they open their phone and they see that there's a Facebook Live broadcast, and instead of it being of a birthday party or of a trip abroad, or what do people usually put on Facebook Live, they were actually seeing the live broadcast of their loved ones being tormented, abused, beaten, bleeding, and also murdered. They saw it live. That's what Hamas has been showing us. And so what we should show Hamas, and I am not a politician and I'm not a person in the military, but I think that we can agree that what we need to show Hamas is the absolute side of you will not be any longer.
There must be this resolve. And I mean, I saw the Hamas speaker just recently that was posted that he's not just after the Jewish people. He's not just after Israelis. He said it clearly. We will take this world. We will run over this whole world with such kind of radical Islam. That's their goal. And I think this is something that this world must hear. That this is not going to end with the Jewish people. This has started with us, yes, but it will not end here. And so there's a threat to the whole world. I mean, this is ISIS, but it's ISIS on steroids. I mean, this is horrible to see what they're doing.
It's horrible, and you said ISIS on steroids. You know, if you equate it to, you know, what happened in the past, also the Jewish people or in other situations, you know, you could never see this kind of terrorism. You could never see this kind of barbarism. It's as if you would say that now the Inquisitors in Spain, or that the Cossacks in Russia, or that the Einsatzgruppen in Poland, that they all of a sudden have TikTok, and that they have social media, and they're just showing you what they're doing.
Proudly.
The world, yes. The world needs to see, again, not to see the gory details, but to see the truth. And in face of that truth, the world needs to choose what are they going to do. The people that are watching us, they need to make the decision. And once you have the knowledge, you cannot escape the responsibility. Once you have the knowledge of what's been happening, you need to assume that responsibility, and you need to be able to stand by truth, by what is human, what is right, what is just, and what is the side of any person of true faith that needs to be doing. And that, in this case, now, is to stand by Israel.
Now, today, as the Hamas has again announced, declared a day of rage, we need to be extra careful to not allow them to take advantage of any situation.
That's true. The Jewish Agency for Israel has a security department with security officers that are based in different key places around the world. We work in cooperation with Israel's security bodies, and I can tell you that we are very much on alert today and also all throughout this weekend, because we know, and again, we hear the threats. We've seen them in all sorts of media and intelligence sources, and we know that today is a day to be very watchful and careful and to be able to protect our people all around the world. We are not just concerned as Jewish people, as Israelis, as the Jewish Agency for Israel. We're not just concerned with what's happening in Israel. We are concerned with the well-being and welfare of every Jewish community around the world. We have some 2,000 emissaries, shlichim, that go out to serve in Jewish communities all around the world. These past few days, they have been engaged in praying and rallies and speaking up and creating care packages and sending them to soldiers in Israel. And now we are telling them this weekend, this Shabbat, be careful. We know that the danger is out there.
So as we are wrapping up our special report here, we are so thankful to you all for standing with us. And this is the time to pray. If you've ever prayed for the peace of Jerusalem, this is the moment. This is the day, 13th of October, Friday. We need your prayers. We need you to stand with us. But there's a promise. May they prosper who love Jerusalem. There is a blessing coming from God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who said, he who blesses the seed of Abraham shall be blessed. So stand with us. And Danielle, I know that the Jewish Agency is doing great work in now helping those who have been evacuated, helping those who have to find their dear ones. What would be your last words to our viewers today?
Thank you, Albert. So I would say that at this time, the Jewish Agency has moved into full emergency mode. We are partnering with the government of Israel and the different ministries, working with them hand in hand on the emergency roundtable. And we are reaching out to the people that have been directly hurt. We are going to support and are supporting all the victims of terror throughout Israel. We are reaching out to the families, to the loved ones. We are gathering all the information, and no questions asked, no forms to be filled. We are giving them direct assistance. We are responsible for some 3,000 Holocaust survivors and poor elderly that are living in our assisted living homes throughout the South. The residents of Ofakim, a city that has been literally under siege with terrorists in the streets. Over there, we are protecting those seniors and their Holocaust survivors. We have evacuated to the center of the country close to 2,000 New Olim, among them those that are living just 5 kilometers from Gaza and from Shabbat have been locked in their safe rooms. And we will neither rest nor slumber until we can assure the safety of our people. The work ahead is immense, and I would like to thank truly everyone who has been supporting us these past few days, all the donors, all the people that have been praying, all the people that have been sending in their generous support so that we can do our work and be there for the people of Israel.
Thank you so much, Danielle, and we will see you tomorrow at our special report, Answers to Allies.